B promotion. A B. What's good, family? I'm back at it. Back at it again. Okay. Y'all know how I do. I do my quick introductions and then I ride out. Okay, I ride out. Today I picked this Afro beat, an old school Afro beat sample. I think it's fitting for my video today, so that's what we're doing. All right. So if you guys feel the drums, or you just feel the beat, you feel the melody, well, it's not in the singing in the song, in the sample, but you know, it's something you could probably ride out to if you like it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, we gotta be hush hush right now. I mean, shh, be quiet. Don't let anybody know. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna explore basically the downfall of Ghana and the rest of Africa. Okay? Let's go. Okay. Back at it again, like I said before. We're going to Afro beat it out. Old school style. Okay? Just give it a try. That's right. Ride out. I got my bow now. Okay. You know. I got my cuts. my machete. Okay. What else? Your soldier, you got your M16. Yeah. What else? Following orders out there, you got your service pistol. Okay? You out there on patrol. Boy. Hey. We just ride out. Some old school highlights, you know what I mean? That's right. About to go into this video. Ghana, the continued downfall of Africa. Right? We gotta talk about it. Well, I'm gonna just bring it out. You know? You riding out there. Okay? That's right. Boy. Man, it's just deep. So deep. We gonna go into it though. We definitely gonna go into it though. That's right. In one of my other videos, I said the more things change, the more they stay the same. Man, something, man. It's something. But it's okay. It's all right. We can correct this mistake. You know? That's right. Hey. B. Look. As long as you're aware, that's all that matters. If you're conscious of what's going on, what's happening, you'll be able to maneuver. We right now, old school highlights, African drums. You heard? That's right. Don't get it twisted. Okay. We're gonna do the first video about Kwame Nkrumah. CIA Chronicles. Okay? And we're gonna bring it down to the present. And compare the parallels. Alright? That's what we're gonna do. You riding out there. Okay. Hey. B. That's right. Just getting started. Let's go.
Coups were seen as internal struggles, manifestations of a people who desire regime change. But to the contrary, they are often planned and legitimized from the outside and then projected as a sign of local instability. They are not sudden sharp actions. In fact, they are built on long-term processes to control geopolitical orders, financial networks, and natural resources. CIA covert operations are by their very nature hard to prove definitively, but research into the agency's work, declassified documents, as well as revelations by former CIA employees have unwound a complicated information web. This series will discuss African independence leaders who were ousted or assassinated by Western intelligence services. Congo's Patrice Lumumba's death in 1961 followed on from that of opposition leader of Cameroon, Félix Moumi, poisoned in 1960. Sylvanus Olympio, leader of Togo, was killed in 1963. Mehdi Ben Barka, leader of the Moroccan opposition movement, was kidnapped in France in 1965 and his body never found. Eduardo Mondlane, leader of Mozambique's Frelimo, fighting for independence from the Portuguese, died from a parcel bomb in 1969. And of course, Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah.
This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then to independence. To independence now.
Did y'all see how many people that they took out? What was it, about 6 people? We're going to keep it moving though. There's some parallels also to the States. This is all happening in the 60s when people were getting together. Kwame Nkrumah went to school in the U.S. He had some really good teachers, if y'all know what I'm talking about, But we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it ride.
Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.
As Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's founding father, as well as Africa's first post-colonial president south of the Sahara, would come to learn, this is the kind of thing one has to plan almost in secret and launch when ready, because as soon as you say it, you'll have a target on your back. From the moment that Nkrumah ascended to power, the CIA's eyes were tracking him and what was happening in Ghana from faraway Langley, Virginia. Nkrumah's ideologies were rooted in his vision of a United States of Africa. He believed that the only way for Africa to truly progress was through the creation of a federal state based on a common market, common currency, a unified army, and a common foreign policy that would enable Africa to solve internal conflicts as well as defend itself against external threats. Ghana's independence from Britain colonial rule in 1957 was not only significant for Ghana, but also for the rest of the continent. Consistent with his Independence Day declaration that Ghana's independence was meaningless unless it was linked with the total liberation of the entire continent, Nkrumah trained African liberation fighters, financed their movements, and encouraged them to send colonialists packing from their territories.
Y'all see that, right? Y'all see that? They started doing their own thing. He started financing his people outside of his borders. And you see what happened to all of them. Nah, they can't have that. Unity? Oh no, they might really achieve this thing. Oh no, they got to go. They all got to go. You heard? That's right. They got to go. Hey, you gonna keep it moving.
It is no wonder that in less than a decade after Ghana's independence, more than 35 African countries also attained their own independence. It is also no wonder that according to some quarters, he had to be taken out by any means necessary. Nkrumah's efforts to unite Africa under one government and his anti-imperialist stance attracted the resentment of the West, particularly the United States. In his book, Dark Days in Ghana, Nkrumah alleged that the CIA and other intelligence agencies were actively plotting to undermine his government, using bribes and premises of political power to recruit traitors in his government. Although his critics dismissed these claims as delusional, declassified documents later proved that the CIA had orchestrated the plot to get rid of the man who, according to the files, did more to undermine American interests than any other black African. The US government was determined to get rid of Nkrumah before he managed to unite Africa under one government. They worked with senior Ghanaian military and police officers supported by Britain.
Comment section. Y'all think this is far-fetched? That's just a question. Y'all think this is conspiracy? Oh man. This scenario has played out so many times in all. Not in our lifetime, not in my lifetime, but we had the history, of our foreparents. You know what I mean? They know. They know what happened. Same MO. Same thing. Same thing. They haven't changed not one iota in the playbook. They're still doing the same thing. But we're gonna keep it moving. There's a lot of stuff I gotta put in, right? So we're gonna keep it moving.
British and American diplomats and intelligence officers who provided long-term planning, financing, and logistical aid to mastermind Nkrumah's ouster. The UK and the US began discussions of regime change in Ghana in 1961, a whole 5 years before its actual execution. Details of plans from this time are mostly unknown, since declassified documents from this period remain censored. According to the US State Department at the time, Nkrumah's overpowering desire to export his brand of nationalism unquestionably made Ghana one of the foremost practitioners of subversion in Africa. He resisted economic policies proposed by the International Monetary Fund and reasserted by the World Bank. He
Number one for subversion. This small state in West Africa. They're like, oh no, they got to go. Get him out of here. He's trying to uplift his people. Man, the insecurity of white supremacy, I tell you, man, that shit's crazy. But, you know, forward on.
He was patron to a Bureau of African Affairs, which allegedly had agents supporting nationalist and opposition movements across Africa, like the Ivory Coast, Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso, Niger, Togo, Senegal, Cameroon, Liberia, and Nigeria, with the ultimate goal of assisting more radical leaders to get to positions of power. He even mounted an offensive against apartheid South Africa, providing money and training to the military wing of the African National Congress. In the years leading to the coup, Washington withheld loans to Ghana and worked to lower world cocoa prices through stockpiling in order to deprive Nkrumah of much-needed foreign exchange. U.S. Ambassador Franklin Williams, one of the first African Americans to be ambassador, had presented his credentials to Nkrumah on January 17, 1966, a few weeks to the coup. But before taking up his position, he exchanged private correspondences with friends, bragging that he would soon be running the country. Williams' associations with U.S. intelligence and the coup were a more disturbing brand of betrayal.
I'm gonna be disrespectful right here, but old boy that was sent in to infiltrate, I wouldn't say he was black. He looked like half a white man anyway. His allegiance, you could tell who he aligns with, pretty much. I'm just saying. Y'all can look at it. His pictures. I mean, now I'm not saying all of them, but it's pretty clear who he aligns with. You tell me.
African Americans to be ambassador had presented his credentials to Nkrumah.
He's not gonna tell you he's African. He ain't gonna tell you that he's African now, one bit. And I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no problem with that. But I'm just saying, for the purposes of this video, you could tell who he's going to. I'm just saying. I mean, that's it. We don't keep moving.
On January 17, 1966, a few weeks to the coup. But before taking up his position, he exchanged private correspondences with friends, bragging that he would soon be running the country. Williams' associations with U.S. intelligence and the coup were a more disturbing brand of betrayal, considering Nkrumah's Pan-Africanism and his call for Ghana to be a haven.
I don't know, but to me that looked like a white man. I'm just saying, he looked like a white man. Not talking about my brother Malcolm. Malcolm he's official. He's black. You know what I mean? Yeah, we gonna keep it moving. That's what's up.
And for black artists, thinkers, and leaders. 3 weeks to the coup, an editorial in The Spark, a newspaper founded by Nkrumah, asked why the US would send an African-American ambassador to Ghana when they did not support racial equity in their own country and would surely not send a black ambassador to a European nation. There was
Y'all think Kwame was wrong for this assertion as far as asking America why they sent old boy over there? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. All right? We're going to keep it going.
Speculation that Nkrumah saw his appointment as a sign of disrespect and felt that the US was sending a black ambassador to do their dirty work. On February 21st, 1966, 3 days to the coup, Nkrumah went on a state visit to Vietnam to negotiate a peaceful settlement to the US war in Vietnam. The United States.
In my opinion, this is where Dr. Kwame Nkrumah messed up. You got a whole lot of things going on where you at. You know what I'm saying? Like, the continent is just trying to get its bearings together. Why are you going into Asia to broker anything? Now, I understand that you're looking for alliances, and I get it. But you're not there yet. You're not there yet. You ain't you're not brokering shit. You're not brokering nothing. Stay your ass at home, finish the job. When everything is situated, then you move on. The job hasn't been done yet. This is the part of the downfall. We're going to keep it moving.
The States had encouraged him to go on the diplomatic mission and indeed promised to halt the bombing of North Vietnam in order to ensure his safety. Meanwhile, back home, a group of 600 soldiers stationed in the northern part of the country was ordered to start moving south to Accra, a distance of about 435 miles or 700 kilometers. They were told at first that they were mobilizing to respond to the situation in southern Rhodesia. When they reached the capital, the coup leaders told the soldiers that Nkrumah was meeting with Vietnam President Ho Chi Minh in preparation for deployment of Ghanaian soldiers to the Vietnam War. Later, the soldiers were told they were going to be deployed in southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, to fight against the white government of Ian Smith. So the coup plotters riled up the soldiers and justified their takeover by charging that Nkrumah's administration was abusive and corrupt. They explained that they were disturbed by Kwame Nkrumah's aggressive involvement in African politics and by his belief that Ghanaian troops could be sent anywhere in Africa to fight so-called liberation wars, even though they never did so. Above all, they pointed to the absence of democratic.
Real quick. When you play this back, you're going to see the pictures in the background. You're going to see some images, and those images are important. You're going to see some people that got those hat with the flashes on it, but they're supposedly soldiers, right? So this is all things that you got to keep in mind, especially about where the region where they at, you know what I'm saying, in West Africa. Like, that's very important. Don't miss that. I don't know, like that. Not image, but don't miss that fact right there. You know what I mean? When you see the image, okay. But they definitely they tricked Kwame. He fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. You know what I mean? Why are you trying to broker peace somewhere else? You know what I mean? When you got your own situation at home. And then look, you got soldiers that are looking to take their place. The one you left in charge is going to say, you know what, I could do this job better than he's doing. Right? Mostly he just wants the money. Kwame was really trying to do it. But we're gonna keep it rocking. We're going to keep it moving. Y'all see.
Practices in the nation, a situation they claimed had affected morale of the armed forces. The soldiers were divided up and led to capture various key government installations. The State Broadcasting House and the International Communication buildings were captured quickly. The heaviest fighting broke out at the Flagstaff House, which was the presidential residence. But when Colonel E.K. Kokota threatened to bomb the presidential residence if resistance continued, Nkrumah's wife, Fathia Nkrumah, advised the guards to surrender. The coup leaders informed the public of the regime change over the radio at dawn on February 24, 1966. On the ground, senior officials of the Ghana army carried out the coup as the U.S. intelligence agency pulled the strings and called the shots from behind the scenes. The coup statement over the radio was as follows: "Fellow citizens of Ghana, I have come to inform you that the military, in cooperation with the Ghana police, have taken over the government of Ghana today. The myth surrounding Nkrumah has been broken. Parliament is dissolved and Kwame Nkrumah is dismissed from office. All ministers are also dismissed. The ruling Convention People's Party is disbanded with effect from now. It will be illegal for any person to belong to it." On the other side of the world in Vietnam, a 50-man
Notice how this doesn't go on in any Western country. As far as like a coup d'etat, you know what I mean? Like this shit don't happen nowhere else but on the continent, man. This shit is just sad. It's fucking sad. Y'all niggas ain't figure it out yet. All y'all care about is dollars? We ain't figure it out yet. Man, we gonna keep moving though.
An entourage accompanying Dr. Nkrumah ended up deserting him. A CIA telegram informed Washington of the coup and said the coup leaders appear to be implementing the plans they were reported earlier to have agreed on for the immediate post-coup period. According to the military, 20 members of the Presidential Guard had been killed and 25 wounded. Others suggest a death toll of 1,600. Whatever the number of the dead, it was far from the bloodless coup reported in the British press. After the coup, Nkrumah went into exile. He sought refuge from his close ally, Sekou Touré, the president of Guinea, who made him an honorary co-president of that country. An ex-CIA whistleblower stationed in Africa, John Stockwell, made comments about the role of the CIA in Nkrumah's downfall. Part of his
Did you see his Christian cross? Did y'all see that? We're gonna show it. You see it right there? That's a bona fide Christian right there. What are you doing there? And why are you so white?
in Africa, John Stockwell, made comments about the role of the CIA in Nkrumah's downfall. Part of his account said, Howard Bain, who was the CIA station chief in Accra, engineered the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. Inside the CIA, it was quite clear. Howard Bain got a double promotion and was awarded Intelligence Star for the overthrow of Kwame. The magic of it was that Howard Bain had enough imagination and drive to run this operation without ever documenting what he was doing, and there wasn't one shred of paper that was generated that would name the CIA hierarchy as being responsible. While Nkrumah's policies were seen as socialist-leaning and aligned with communist interests, his government did not take direct orders from the Soviet Union or China. In fact, he often criticized the Soviet Union for not doing enough to support African liberation movements. It became obvious when Nkrumah started promoting the African personality as a theme for self-governance. Under the purported lack of democracy excuse, they overthrew Nkrumah, which sent Ghana into a tailspin for decades. So, Did conditions in Ghana get better after Nkrumah? This is the question that is never asked. Then consider this irony. We are to assume that the US and the UK had so much love for Ghana that they had the moral obligation to free her of Nkrumah's tyranny. Did the coup and the many others that followed result in achieving the ideals that were purportedly lacking under Nkrumah? Instead, we saw a culture of military brutalities and parades of military-style executions. After the coup, the International Monetary Fund rubbed salt to injury by sending a delegation to Accra to tell the military junta to discontinue Nkrumah's industrialization program, which they did. And as a reward, some of them got airports named after them. The US Embassy had long played up Nkrumah's alleged economic mismanagement and poor human rights record, although it tolerated a higher number of political prisoners among the military junta, which succeeded.
Okay, so his mismanagement was that he was trying to build, right? And he was trying to also empower other African countries, right? And like, to be candid, actually, I remember going to a family member had passed away, right? And I go to the funeral. It's an African funeral, right? And there's some men there. I don't know how the subject came up, but they talking about Ghana, right? And they talking about how Kwame Nkrumah was so bad. He built a dam. You know, he built this, he built that, and he was sending money to other people. And I was like, in my mind, I didn't say anything, right? Because I didn't want to. Somebody had passed away. I wasn't trying to start a fight or argument. I just left it alone. I just let them talk. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, yeah, he sent money here, he sent money there, this, that, that. He was the worst president, this, that, that. I'm like, he was trying to free our motherfuckers. Y'all really don't understand that? This is why we are destroyed. This is why we destroyed as a people. You know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna, how am I gonna talk to a person that thinks like that? Like, oh, all the money needed to stay in Ghana. He was thinking bigger than Ghana, you stupid. Yeah, let's keep it going.
Him and worse economic outcomes. The National Liberation Council that took over worked towards privatization of state-owned businesses, enabling the restoration of foreign dominance over Ghana's economy as the country was reoriented towards the West. Ultimately, the coup was orchestrated because Nkrumah was seen as a threat to Western economic interests, as they feared he would nationalize resources. The Americans had invested a lot in the Volta Dam and felt that if this project did not succeed, they would lose money and international credibility. They wanted the project completed while minimizing Nkrumah's power. US foreign affairs officials interpreted Nkrumah's policies in the context of Egypt's nationalization of the Suez Canal, the subsequent Soviet funding of the Aswan High.
I want y'all to make notation about this, because this is very important also. When Nasser was trying to take control of the Suez Canal, he's also the one that said he's also the one that said that the Jews won't have no peace there because they left black and came back white. Y'all can look that up for yourself, right? I'm just saying. It's funny as hell. Oh, shit. Yeah, let's go.
Dam and the 1964 Panama Canal crisis that threatened American control of the waterway. Nkrumah's sponsorship of anti-imperial causes around Africa was understood by Western powers as destabilizing rather than supporting American democracy. His role as a key member of the non-aligned movement, which aimed to chart a viable third way, could only be seen by binary-thinking Cold War politicians as anti-Western. U.S. foreign policy in Africa was primarily driven by anxiety about the threat of Soviet and Chinese interests. Africans became ciphers, illegible except in how they could help unravel communism. U.S. foreign affairs and intelligence officials discussed using psychological warfare to isolate Nkrumah and turn public support away from him. It is striking that mid-level US and British agents felt they had the moral and political right to assess an African regime's right to exist. The lives and interests of people, particularly black people, in a sovereign country were insignificant. Nkrumah firmly believed that political independence was meaningless without economic independence. Thus, by the time he was overthrown in the CIA-inspired coup, Ghana had a whopping 68 sprawling state-owned factories producing every need of the population, from shoes to textiles, to furniture, to lorry tires, to canned fruits, to vegetables and beef, to glass, to radio and TV, to books, to steel, to educated manpower. Virtually everything. Nkrumah wanted to industrialize Ghana within a single generation.
Did y'all get that? Did y'all get that? Now you understand why he had to go. You know? The powers that be, they couldn't have that. They thought they had them a puppet. See, that's all they want. A puppet. Right? Shit, that's all we got now. We almost done with this one, but I'm gonna connect the dots. Hey, B. Let's go.
And everything was on course until the powers that be used some disgruntled, self-serving Ghanaian soldiers to stage that coup that slow-rolled Ghana's progress. It was a major setback, not only for Ghana but the whole of Africa. If Nkrumah had been allowed to complete his industrialization plan, Ghana would today have been another Singapore on the west coast of Africa. However, we are
real quick, I'm gonna just put this out there because I know because the Europeans drew lines, imaginary lines, and put together that weren't supposed to be together, and in order for that coup to happen, they had to get people from the north, where unfortunately, where my mother's from, those were probably her people, right? They are a different ethnic group from Kwame. You know what I'm saying? Kwame is from the Akan, right? That's actually my father's ethnic group, which is another whole thing. Like, it's ironic. Like, yo. In order for them to get this coup on the way, they had to get the people from the north to come south to carry it out. So I'm just giving some context to the story also. But you'll see that when you watch the video that they came from the north to into the south.
left with nostalgia, only to wonder what might have been if Dr. Nkrumah was never overthrown. Let me know in the comments if you like this type of deep dive long analysis, and if you liked the video and you're open to having some better understanding of Africa, consider liking it and subscribing to Reason Africa. Every single video will make you realize just how much more there is to know.
All right, we're done with this one. We're gonna pick up from the next point. Okay. Hey, B. Let's go. We back at it. Hey, beat, get out the way. That's right. We gonna let brother Kwesi Pratt bring us up to date. Okay. I'm tying everything together so that y'all can see. All right? We're gonna keep it moving. Let's go.
Say that we should follow the American example. Those who say that we should follow the German example and so on, I like to ask just one question. Yes, we are ready to follow the example, but first, they must tell us which people we can also go and capture as slaves to work for us for 100 years without pay.
Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is a Ghanaian journalist and managing.
All right, we're going to go past my brother right here. Hold on. All right, we back at that.
That sovereignty which is defined in terms of our so-called national identity. Is it that sovereignty which is defined within the realm of the many countries that have sprung up on the African continent? Or is it a different kind of sovereignty which enables us as Africans to act together, to fight together, to struggle together, to eliminate poverty, and to move forward on the path of achieving social justice and deeper democracy? Today, there are so many of us when we talk about sovereignty, and we are talking about Nigeria, we are talking about Ghana, we are talking about Togo, we are talking about South Africa, and so on. I think the time has come to rethink the concept of sovereignty. I've traveled across many borders in Africa.
He about to break it down, y'all, so pay attention real quick, right? I'm just getting familiar with brother Kwesi Pratt, right? I don't know where he get his name Pratt from, but that's neither here nor there. I'll figure that out, right? But I had to pull up what he was talking about, and it's out there, it's factual, right? So it goes to show, like, the people that you think are doing good work actually aren't, but we're gonna keep it moving. Okay. Hey. Beat. Let's go.
And what I see sometimes is absolutely shocking. Only recently, I traveled on the border between Ghana and Togo. And I discovered that on those borders, you find houses. In some of the houses, the bathroom is in Togo and the sitting room is in Ghana. So people who live in these houses, are they Togolese or they are Ghanaians? The facts of our history is that these countries were not created, these borders were not created by us. These borders do not define us. These are borders which were created in 1884, thereabout, when the imperialist countries sat around the table, put the map of Africa on the table, and drew lines across Africa to define their spheres of interest. It had nothing to do with the aspirations of our people. And that is why today, on all of our borders, there is total confusion. You go to the border between La Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana, and you find the Nzema people. The majority of them actually live in La Côte d'Ivoire. Their paramount chief lives in La Côte d'Ivoire, and they are divided by a line which was drawn by the colonialists. The time has come for all of us to work relentlessly to pull down these boundaries, because these boundaries define our colonial status, These boundaries are partly responsible for our poverty and underdevelopment, and we need to pull them down now. We need to pull them down now to build that new Africa whose people are united in their common struggle for justice, in their common struggle for emancipation, in their common struggle to control their own resources and to exploit these resources for the benefit of their people. Today, all over Africa, our people are poor, our people's access to education and other social services are limited. We need to ask the simple question: what is responsible for underdevelopment in Africa? What is responsible for the poverty that we see on the streets of Johannesburg? What is responsible for the fact that many of our people have no access to electricity? Here in Joburg, I've been here just 2 days. Is there a good reason why the lights go off frequently? Is there a good reason why Johannesburg is what it is today? The first day of my arrival, I was driving through the streets of Johannesburg, and what I saw is a huge statement about the fact that the struggle against apartheid is not over yet. You drive on the streets of Johannesburg, and what do you see? The street names, German, English. You hardly find a street name which is African. And yet, we wallow.
That's why Africans can't go nowhere talking about anything. We are destroyed as a people. There's no way any continental African can leave the continent acting as if they run shit. They don't. Nigga, you don't run shit. You better make alliances with your people. The fuck? Sticking your chest out as if you've done something. Somebody else is running your whole damn continent, and you're not ashamed. You're not ashamed. Boy, let's keep it moving, man.
In the assumption that we have liberated ourselves from apartheid. Today, you go to Soweto, you go to the shanty towns and so on. Who lives in those shacks? Who are the people who suffer mass employment in this country? The struggle against apartheid is not over. And the earlier we realized that and came together and continued that struggle for total liberation, the better it will be for all of Africa. One of the problems we face is that we allow them to talk down to us, to tell us what to do. We are told not to follow the Chinese example. We are told not to follow the example of Cuba. We are told not to follow the example of Venezuela and so on. And we are told to follow the example of the United States of America. We are told to follow the example of Germany. We are told to follow the example of France. What is that example? Clearly, the prosperity that the ruling classes in these countries enjoy is not the result of their hard work or the correctness of the ideological and political path. The prosperity they enjoy comes out of the fact that for years, for hundreds of years, our forebears were captured as beasts of burden to work their plantations. They captured the best in Africa. They captured the best architects, the doctors, and so on, and made them work for free in conditions of slavery. Today, they live in relative prosperity because of the colonial adventure, because they controlled our resources and they exploited our resources for their own benefit. I look at the railway lines in Ghana, and I'm not surprised at our poverty. If you look at the railway lines in Ghana, they all start from areas of concentration of wealth. They start from the gold mines. They start from the diamond mines.
Okay.
They start from the forest where we cut timber and so on.
Okay.
And where do they end up? They do not end up in African factories producing the needs of the African people.
at the port.
They end up at the ports.
Right at the sea.
They end up at the ports because these resources are being taken away to build Europe, to build North America, to enrich the bourgeoisie in those societies.
You got.
We have to change the story that our railway lines tell us about ourselves and so on. In any case, those who say that we should follow the American example, those who say that we should follow the German example and so on, I like to ask just one question. Yes, we are ready to follow the example, but first, they must tell us which people we can also go and capture as slaves to work for us for 100 years without pay. They must tell us which territories in the world today we as Africans can go and colonize. They must tell us what territories in the world today we can establish a new colonial relationship with.
That's right.
If they show us that, perhaps we will follow the example.
You don't have to follow.
But until they show us that, there's no way we can follow the example. And even if they showed us that, we have a very high level of morality. We are opposed to slavery. We are opposed to colonialism.
This is where I'm going to have to defer as far as the morality concept is concerned. I've embraced villainy. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to be friends. Nope. You do you. I'll do me. When we meet, may the best man win. Okay. Y'all already know I don't even do arguments. I'm not gonna argue with you, right? As soon as you start talking, that's all I need. Let's keep it moving.
Colonialism, and we are opposed to neocolonialism, and therefore that is not our path to development and prosperity. Our path to development and prosperity lies in our working together to pull down the structures of enslavement, the structures of neocolonial control, to build that new Africa in which no child will go to bed on an empty stomach. That is our task. That is our path. We have been told that we Africans are barbarians. We have been told that the Europeans came here to civilize us. That is falsifying history, isn't it? Because we know the story of the Congo. We know the story of King Leopold. And we know that they amputated Africans because they were of their inability to supply rubber for the enrichment of the empire in Belgium. What can be more barbaric than amputating the limbs of people because they refuse to be exploited? We know the story of Kenya, and we know how the Mau Mau movement was treated. We know the story of South Africa and how apartheid decimated the South African people. And we know the story of Libya, the recent story of Libya, and how Libya has been reduced to rubble, we would not be.
Why? Who is this guy right here? Why are you dead in South Africa? You, this one right here, and then this one. I can tell she's colored. Yo, this lecture. I mean, I'm playing this lecture because there's a major point in here referring to Ghana, right? That needs to be examined, right? But you know, to get the full aspect, I gotta play the whole video type thing. Okay, so bear with me, family. All right, let's go. Hey, beat, and look at this nigga right here. Nigga hood like now he leaning back, got his trench on. You know what I mean? Got his dad hat on, real low. Like nigga, what you talking about, bro? Now, his pants are kind of high with us. I don't know. It is Africa. It is hot, so we gonna give him that.
Be deceived by these narratives, and we have to work to put forward our own narrative. If you read Nkrumah's book, Africa Must Unite, Nkrumah makes the point that Africa alone has more than 50% of the total resources of the world. Now, if Africa has more than 50% of the total resources of the world, why is there so much poverty and deprivation on this continent? There's so much poverty and deprivation on this continent because we have failed to realize the dreams of our forebears. We have failed to realize the dreams of Toussaint Louverture and others. There's so much poverty on this continent because we no longer control our resources and exploit these resources for our benefit. I come from Ghana in West Africa. And only last week, I saw some statistics which were deeply worrying. Ghana, which was the vanguard of the liberation struggle. Ghana, which provided 10 million pounds in order that the Guinean revolution would start and survive. Ghana, which provided 10 million pounds also to Zambia for Kaunda to lead the nationalist movement to victory and so on. Ghana, which played a leading part in the struggle against apartheid and so on, has now simply been reduced to rubble. Today, Ghana needs 128% of its total national revenue for two items: debt servicing and public sector emoluments. Ghana is broke. Now Ghana is broke. And how is Ghana broke? Ghana is the leading producer of gold in Africa. Ghana is the 5th largest producer of gold in the world. Ghana is the 2nd largest producer of cocoa.
Gold Coast.
Ghana has many resources. The country is crisscrossed by rivers. It has the largest man-made lake in the world. And yet, Ghana has been reduced to rubble. Ghana is bordered on the south by the Atlantic Ocean. It has the Volta River running all the way from the northmost part of the country into the Atlantic Ocean and so on. And yet Ghana is an importer of fish. We import toothpicks. After you have eaten and you have those remnants between your teeth and so on, that small.
Ghana imports toothpicks when they export timber. How, Sway? How, Sway? In the immortal words of Kanye, of Ye. How, Sway? Yo, the Atlantic Ocean is right there. You importing fish? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Okay. It's an alarm. It's an alarm. Ring the alarm. The fuck? Man. This stuff is so demoralizing that we have to start at zero. To get things right. But we ain't falling for that. Gen X on down. Well, latter Gen X. Let me put it that way. On down. Yeah, we not rocking with that. We got our own ideas. And if you don't conform to them, then there's nothing that we can talk about. We don't need to talk. Right? So that's it. Y'all already know our kids are wild. They super wild. They look at what we got. And we got shit. They said, that's it? If this ain't no villainous video, I don't know what it is. I swear. These kids want it all. I don't blame them. But we're going to keep it moving. Because we have, well, we don't have another video. I'm try to, after Brother Quasi Pratt finish his talk, I pulled up what he was talking about, so we're going to go into it a little bit, okay? That's right. Hey, beat.
Stick you use to remove them is imported by Ghana. We import virtually everything and so on. What happened to us? How are we getting out of this situation? Because if we don't get out of this situation of reliance on imports and so on, we would never be able to assert a sovereignty. The path to our liberation lies in our taking full control of all of our resources and exploiting those resources for the benefit of our own people. This is the path. And this path is only realizable under the guidance of scientific socialism. There is no other way. Now, comrades, I just mentioned that we are the largest producer of gold in Africa. What does that mean? What does that mean when our central bank signs an agreement with these mining companies, which says that the mining companies can retain 98% of the value of gold that is exported from Ghana? What does that mean when Ghanaian interest in mining is only 3%? Being the largest producer of gold in Africa, what does that mean when we are unable to finance education, where we are unable to improve the housing stock, where we are unable to enhance access to healthcare and so on? What does that simply mean? These are the things that we need to reflect on when we come to be talking about reclaiming our sovereignty. We have already heard a lot about foreign military bases on our continent. And I feel sad that Ghana is hosting one of these foreign military bases. Now, if you read the terms under which these military bases are established on our continent, you feel sad. You feel hopeless. In Ghana,
Here we go.
we have allowed the United States of America to establish its military base on our soil.
Okay.
Under the agreement which allows the U.S. to establish this military base, our head of state is stopped from entering that territory.
Is that so?
The U.S. military base is not accessible even to the head of state.
Is that so?
As if that was not enough. In the agreement, we have committed to an arrangement under which if U.S. soldiers come to Ghana and kill Ghanaians, Ghanaians cannot go to court
Oh yeah.
to ask for redress. We have committed ourselves to an arrangement under which property destroyed by U.S. soldiers in Ghana, if your property is destroyed by U.S. soldiers in Ghana, you cannot go to court. We have given our frequencies for the use of the U.S. military for free.
Man.
Our frequencies are given to the U.S. forces for free. When Ghanaians have to pay millions in order to get frequencies to establish radio stations and television stations and so on, the U.S. can take it for free.
They control the media. Y'all heard? And I guarantee it's one of them folks. I looked at a couple of pictures. Just the little bit of research I did. Just a little bit of research I did. Right? You could already see the people that ain't supposed to be there. They there. They are there. They are claiming their state. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I'm not. I ain't gonna go there. But it's real. But we about to change that shit. But let's keep it rocking. Let's keep it rocking. All right? Hey. B. That's right. Ashanti Black. Let's go.
Under the agreement, U.S. soldiers entering Ghana are not subject to inspection. They are not subject to search. You can't search them. You can't look through their bags. You can't examine what is on their body. And when they leave, they are also not subject to customs inspection. They cannot be searched. U.S. soldiers do not need passports to enter Ghana. They don't need passports to enter Ghana. All they need is their ID cards. Under these circumstances, we have given U.S. soldiers privileges way and above diplomats. Because even the American ambassador needs a passport to enter Ghana. A U.S. soldier does not need a passport to enter Ghana.
Okay.
In any case, what are these soldiers doing on our continent? What are they doing on our continent? Our leaders must ask themselves some interesting questions. Of course, they say that there's a global village, whatever that means, but they say that there's a global village. If this is a global village as they define, then everybody has interest everywhere. Now, if we decided to station a battalion of the U.S. of the Ghanaian army in Washington, what would happen?
Exactly.
Now, if the U.S. would not allow us to station a battalion in Washington, why do we then allow them to station a battalion on our soil?
Like, they got to go.
Ab initio, this arrangement means that we have accepted that we are inferior. And that is one of the reasons why we need to wake up and dismantle these arrangements in order to establish our equality and so on. I suspect that I'm already speaking more than 15 minutes, but I think that it would be inappropriate if I do not touch on the question of Ukraine. the current question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ukraine. What has that got to do with our sovereignty? A lot. As we speak, many African countries are in situations of war. As we speak,
Big fact.
80% of the land territory of Burkina Faso has been taken up by insurgents.
Burkina.
Only last week, 8 soldiers of the Togolese armed forces were slaughtered by Islamic insurgents. 2 weeks ago, the northern border of Benin was attacked.
That's right.
As we speak, West Africa is in turmoil. Nigeria, northeastern Nigeria, is on fire.
That's right.
By Boko Haram insurgents and so on. There's a low-intensity civil war in the Niger Delta and so on. Somalia is becoming a failed state and so on.
That's right.
Nobody talks about these developments on the African continent.
Nope.
We are all told to focus on Ukraine. Why? Why Ukraine? What is my worry with Ukraine when West Africa is burning and nobody is talking about West Africa?
And why are they so white? Like exclusively, they are pale as hell. Why are they so white? I don't know, man. It's just like I'm confounded. If anybody got an answer to why Ukrainians are really white, could you please put it in the comment section? Thank you. For PSA. You're going to keep moving.
What is my worry with Ukraine when there is war all over Africa? I think that the time has come for us as Africans to begin to think about how to build our own nations and how to free our own nations from the ravages of war and so on. As we are being told to join Ukraine in the preservation of democracy and so on, we see pictures of Africans in Ukraine who also want to flee the war like the Ukrainians and who are refused access to buses taking people out of the war zone. There's a story of a Nigerian student who had to walk for 12 hours because Ukrainian security people decided that the buses that were taking people to Poland were not for Africans.
Okay.
If the Ukrainians would not respect us and treat us with dignity like all other people, like the
Treat yourself with dignity. Stop going to these places where you don't want to. Africans think white people like them. They don't like you. They just use you. And you haven't figured it out. You haven't figured it out. Man, I tell you, I'm embarrassed. I'm super embarrassed. I'm so glad I grew up in America. Yo, you feel me? Because I wouldn't have had this type of swag. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say swag, but I'm just saying like this kind of insight. I just used the word swag, you know, for lack of a better word. But insight, you know what I mean? Hindsight, what's that saying? How that saying go? Like, you know, hindsight is like 20, 2020 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, you know, just having the forethought to think about where you're going, what you're going to be doing, how you're going to get somewhere. You know what I mean? Those types of thought process. Right? So listen to this and then actually reading it, and I'm gonna pull it up so that you guys can see that it's true. It's something else. I don't know. It's like I'm not proud of. I'm not proud of none of this shit. I'm proud of this shit.
Themselves and so on, what business do we have wasting our time, our energy, our resources, our brain power on defending Ukraine? We Africans are not inferior to any race, and we must insist on the fact that we have the same faculties of, like all people all over the world, and we are not ready to compromise on our dignity. In any case, if you look at the war in Ukraine, my comrades and friends, the war in Ukraine, look at those fighting the war. Who supported us in our struggle against apartheid? It was certainly not the United States of America. It was certainly not NATO. The support we had to fight for our dignity, to stand up for who we are and so on, came from the Russians. It came from China. It came from Cuba. It came from Cuba, who sent an internationalist force into Angola. It came from Cuba.
Hey, Black Light. You was talking about this earlier today, too. Hey, yo. Black Light. When you talking about this today? I know you was, yo. I know you was. Shout out to Black Revelation. Go check out his channel. You know what I mean? Black Revelation 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, he got the React channel. You know what I mean? It's so many channels he has. I can't name them off the top of my head. But it's compelling information on those channels. So definitely check it out. All right? We're going to keep it moving, though. All right? Let's go. Hey.
Whose armed forces surrounded the armed forces of apartheid South Africa and forced them to surrender in the Battle of Cuito Cuanavalle. It came from the Cuban internationalists who forced the apartheid regime to capitulate. We cannot forget our friends, and we cannot forget our history. We have friends and we have a history that we need to protect, and we have interest to protect as African people. The battle for the liberation of Africa must continue, and it is indeed continuing, and we would not stop until Africa is fully liberated from the clutches of exploitation, from neocolonialism, and from the underdevelopment which is imposed upon us by capitalism. We must win this battle, and we will surely win the battle. We win the battle under the banner of Pan-Africanism and socialism, and nothing will stop us. Comrades, thank you.
Okay, so we're done with this video right here. We're going to move on to the next. We'll move on to the next situation, right? So, 1 second. Hold on. One second. Hey. Beep. I didn't pick up a B sample. I'm probably gonna just ride out with the first sample I had until I get to my next joint. Okay? So we're gonna ride out. You know what? Let me see what I got. Hold on. All right. We're gonna see what I got in the archives. Right? What I got in the collection. Okay. We'll see. Right. So. Oh boy. It's like so many songs to choose from. It's like, well, where do you go? Right. Anyway. Let me be more clear. You know what? I'll leave the music alone for now, right? And I'll just bring up what Quincy was talking about, right? So do that, do that. We doing that. I know y'all can hear them clicks in the background. We're gonna share this, right? So, he did mention. So this is the article that he was talking about, Quincy Pratt, right? So, agreement between United States of America and Ghana signed in Accra, May 9, 2018. Okay, so this is relatively new, right? But in this document, it mentions something from 1940, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not exactly sure why. If anybody has the information on that, please drop it in the comment section, right? Because I'm not gonna say act like I know everything. I don't. You know, I'm always learning, right? So that's what's going on right here. Nobody Department of State, July 8, 1966. Right, so okay. Defense Cooperation Agreement signed May 9, 2018. All right, entered in May 31st, 2018. No problem. No problem. Okay. All right, this is an agreement between the government of the United States of America and the government of the Republic of Ghana on defense cooperation, the status of United States forces, and access to and use of agreed facilities and areas in the Republic of Ghana. Whoa, that's big word salad. So we got the preamble here. We're gonna go past that. Got the article definition, right? Article of definitions, right? So, in the article of definitions, Article 1 is 5 definitions. Article 2. I'm just gonna go straight to it. I think he mentioned Article 12, right? I'm gonna go straight to it, but there's so many articles, right? So here we go, right? Wait, let's look at Article 11 and 12. Importation and exportation. United States forces may import into and export out of and use in Ghana any personal property, equipment, supplies, materials, technology, training, and services in the connection with this agreement. Such importation, exportation, and use shall be exempt from any inspection. You can't inspect they shit. What they import and yo, these motherfuckers is robbing, stealing. Who the fuck signed this shit? What president of Ghana signed this? Who? This is what we doing right here. The United States government can come into Ghana. Ghana, you can't even come into the United States and do shit. You can't do shit. You ain't gonna operate like this. The fuck? This is Article 11. I was gonna go straight to 12. I was gonna go straight to 12. I bypassed. You know what I mean? I bypassed 10 articles already. Let's read it again. United States forces may import into and export out of and use in Ghana any personal property, equipment, supplies, materials, technology, training, and services in connection with the agreement. Such importation, exportation, and use shall be exempt from any inspection, license, or other restrictions, custom duties, taxes, or any other charges assessed within Ghana. So basically, they could go in there, take whatever they want, leave, and it's all good. It's all good. Okay? Section 2 in Article 11. United States contractors may import into and export out of and use in Ghana any personal property, equipment, supplies, materials, technology, training, or services in connection with contracts or some subcontracts, okay, with or in support of United States. 1 second. Forces in connection with this agreement. Such importation, exportation, and use shall be exempt from any license. Other restrictions, custom duties, taxes, and any other charges assessed within Ghana. That's just Article 11, okay? That's just Article 11. We're going to go into Article 12, and then we're going to move on from that, right? This is what Brother Kwesi Pratt was talking about in the last video, okay? Article 12, freedom of movement and vehicles, vessels, boats, and aircraft. Y'all get that? 1 and 2. Let's do 1, right? Aircraft, vehicles, and vessels operated by all, at the time, exclusively for the United States forces, may enter, exit, and move freely within the territorial waters of Ghana. You see how they put waters first? Them motherfuckers coming in by sea. And you can't say shit. Because you agree to this stupid motherfucker. Of Ghana, with respect for the relevant rules of air, maritime. Now, I don't know if everybody got the same maritime laws or whatever. If everybody got the same maritime laws, then it's a free for all. If Ghana, if you can shoot the United States Navy out the water, then do it. I would suggest do it, but you probably can't. And land safety and movement, part 2. Aircraft, vehicles, and vessels operated by or at the time exclusively for the United States forces shall not be subject to the payment of landing, okay, parking, okay, or port fees. Okay. Compulsory, I can't say that word. Compulsory politics. I don't know that word. I'm gonna have to look that up. Navigation or overflight charges or tolls, right? Or other use charges, including litterage, and harbor dues levied by Ghana, right? So basically, Ghana can't charge them for any of their movements with any of their vehicles. It's instrumentalities, or any subdivision thereof. However, the United States forces shall pay reasonable charges for services requested and received at rates no less favorable, less taxes and similar charges than those paid by the armed forces of Ghana. So we just read Articles 11 and Articles 12, right? Of this so-called agreement. You know what I mean? So, look. Oh, snap. I ain't even show none of that, right? So, alright. Because I was reading it. I thought I was showing it. So, hold on. Being that I didn't show it, I'm going to show it now. Right? Hold on. So, we read Articles 11 and 12. This is Article 11 right here, and 12 right under it. If you guys want to snap, screenshot it, you can. This is the agreement that Ghana signed in 2018. Right? So, I don't know. Like, I don't even know who signed this. Like, who told this person to sign this? Like, why? Like, why? Right? Alright, let me scroll down and just tab this so you can get Article 12. This is Article 12. We just reading 2 articles out of the whole. Hold on. Y'all can screenshot this, but it goes to. There are 19 articles of this thing, and then the signatures at the end. So this is a real article, right? This is real. This sign your life away. Don't read shit. Sign your life away. And we all do it. We all do it. We think we know what we signed. We don't. We have no idea. But this treaty, right? Well, this whatever this is, this document right here was basically about life and death, and you just killed your people. It's sad. You know. Anyway, there may have been one more thing I wanted to share, but I'm not sure this might end my video. So I appreciate you guys for chilling out with me and listen to me vent about some of the conditions that our people are in. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about our people globally. I'm not just regulating our people to a specific geographic area. I mean, even though I'm focusing on Africa right now, but we are going through a lot of the same things wherever we are. In in the Americas, you know what I'm saying? Our people going through the same things, you know what I mean? In Europe, our people going through the same thing. So wherever you may find black people on the globe, there's a common bond or there's a common situation that we all in. And, you know, it's not hard to see. Anyway, we're gonna keep it moving. Like, share, subscribe, for real. I'm trying to put good content out to you, you know. Like I said, I'm new at this. I'm trying to, you know, get into my niche, but at the same time, I'm not a person that I can definitely give you grift work. You know what I mean? Like I can definitely put some tabloid shit out here for you to listen to, but our situation as a people is important to me. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to put things out there so that we can see where the mistakes were had, right? So that we could learn from those mistakes and continue to grow, right? If that makes sense. Anyway, you know me. I'm gonna ride out. Okay? Ashanti Black. You know me. Hey. Big. We about to be out. Okay? Like, share, subscribe.